Grand Rising. It's about 10 a.m., 80 degrees Fahrenheit, May 30th. And the garden really started flourishing these past few days. Really just took off. So I'm gonna go through and talk about what we got. So goes popcorn intermixed with some radishes, turnips, and purple bunching onions. So the radishes will come out, and then that will give room for the popcorn to grow. Then we got a flint corn right here, also intermixed with some radishes. A nice row of black seed Simpson lettuce. That's going to be harvested for first week's market coming up, June 3rd. Some red oak leaf and Jericho lettuce that's also going to be harvested for the first market. Strawberries, two different kinds of strawberries intermixed with 2 different plantings of garlic, and there's parsnips also intermixed within the strawberries and the garlic. And then also on the end corner, I tried doing some sweet corn, but that might be getting too much shade from the potatoes. So we got 4 different varieties of potatoes. That is rose gold, rose gold potatoes, Baltic rose, a Nature's Promise gold, just from the grocery store, and then a German butterball gold. And then at my other plot, I have a Adirondack blue potato. So technically 5 different varieties. And the potatoes are really taking off. And back in the day, this actually used to be a potato farm. So it's kind of cool to see how those are always doing like one of the best. But the garlic is also really taking off. All of them are taking on this like bluish green hue, almost like a very like light green blue. It's pretty cool. Right there, all those yellow flowers, that's the Mizuna Asian greens going to flower, and the top soy Asian greens. But the greens are still good even after going to flower. Putting those on, mixing those in some salads. And then I scythed my little square that I got here. So I got a nice fatty mound of grass to put on the garden when and where it needs it. But from all the previous scything sessions that I've had, I got a pretty good cover of grass on, and once I got the new layers of grass on, I was watering every day, but we've got some good rains, and now that the system is in place, I'm noticing that I don't have to water as much, and soon I might not have to water at all. So that's very cool. We got the mounds planted out to 2 different kinds of cantaloupe, 2 different kinds of watermelon, 2 different kinds of winter squash. That's Burgess buttercup and honey nut buttercup squash. Then 3 different kinds of pumpkin: Connecticut field pumpkin, New England pie pumpkin, and Cinderella pumpkin. So stay tuned to see how that unfolds, because I may have planted too many seeds close together, but hopefully they just unravel and this becomes a nice little pumpkin, watermelon, cantaloupe patch field. So that would be cool to see how that unravels. And the tomatoes are doing good. They went through some crazy fluctuations, but they're finally taking on some nice growth. You can tell that they're nice and green. They're doing good. We got one tomato, some Thai basil, and then I have some tomato seedlings that I just planted in the ground and they germinated, came up. So I think I have like 20 of those. So don't let it be said that you can't grow a tomato from seed in the ground. You don't necessarily need to start them inside. It just takes a little bit longer. We got some Genovese basil right there. Another tomato plant that I transplanted out. It went through a lot of fluctuations, but it seems like it's gonna do good. We got some wild yarrow checking in right here, highly medicinal. And then this pepper plant that got rocked, but it's checking in, doing all right. And then the two eggplants, another tomato, and yeah, so we got a whole bunch of tomatoes. And this is the ground cherry, not doing so hot, but I know they're all gonna come back. Now's the time where everything is really starting to equalize, and I'm gonna come out here one day and I'm gonna need to stake these tomato plants up, but they're going through a little recovery stage right now. Planted out the ginger, see how that goes. Green wave mustard greens with some peas. This is gonna be 2 kinds of yellow summer squash and 2 kinds of green summer squash. Already planted out just the other day. Now that we're past our last frost date. And then I put some cucumbers in here, so hopefully those intermix with the tomatoes and start to grow out and do their thing. There's gonna be a lot going on here. Then this lettuce, I've been talking about it in previous videos, but it's just doing on point. And I did not plant that. It just came up from seed from last year. So that's really cool. It's doing really great. It's looking nice and tender. We got some flowers coming up, some amaranth, some New Zealand spinach coming up, some cilantro, the radishes finishing up. Gonna have to put in a new planting of those. We got some nice outrageous lettuce, also going to be harvested for first market. And then everything that's growing up here will be for second week of market. So I'm going to cut what's over there, all those lettuces that I showed you, and then that will be for first week. By the time this grows up, it'll be ready for second week. And then by third week, what I have cut over there for the first week will, in theory, grow back for the third week. It's called cut and come again. So that's what we're working with here. Got some green wave mustard greens again, getting nice, big, and robust and spicy. And then this is a nice interplanting. So we got pole bean. I'm getting eaten up by black flies. We got beans right here. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see with but yeah, so beans on the side right there, and then intermixed is a variety of mustard greens. So the beans will grow up over the mustard greens, but once I harvest the mustard greens out, then that'll give more room for the beans to grow. But then I'll probably get a cut and come again off of this. So I'm just utilizing the most of my space. There's another planting of lettuce right here that I cut some from last night, just needed to be harvested. The beets, I don't know if I'm gonna get any actual beets, but I've been using their greens for pestos, so that's been cool. I got beans down this whole row. These are those Asian greens I was talking about going to flower. And a lot of people, after they get to this stage, would snip them out, but I don't really have any other flowers for the pollinators right now, so I'm just simply leaving them because, one, I did try the leaves and they're still kind of nice, nice and tender. And all these flowers are, you can't really might be not able to see it on camera, but there's a whole bunch of tiny little pollinators just flying around, pollinating, getting the nectar, doing their thing. So it's good for the nature. And then here's a next succession of lettuce coming up. So gonna harvest this lettuce the second week. By third week, this will be ready for another cut, and then by fourth week, this will have matured, and I could start cutting off this. So it's just about continuous planting and continuous successions, and everything is really, it's looking nice and it's taking off, and I'm really happy. And then there's gonna be onions hopefully growing in here, and I ordered a kind of like a last minute thing. I got sweet potato starter slips. So sweet potato is really like a tropical growing situation, but people do it in Vermont, and it can be done. You just have to wait until 3 weeks after the soils have been heating after your last frost date, and you can get ready to go. So I'm going to be planting 10 sweet potato slips in there alongside the 4 different varieties of potatoes. So that would be cool to have some Vermont sweet potatoes. And then, yeah, I mean, the potatoes are doing so good. And then right down on the side, little right here, there's some more outrageous lettuce intermixed in between the potatoes. And then there's peas also intermixed in between the potatoes. So hopefully I get some Oregon snow peas that will mature before the potatoes fully mature. Potatoes should be ready in about July. Takes about 90 days, depending on if you have an early season, mid-season, or late season variety. So yeah, that is Jay's grass-fed garden update. I didn't think I was gonna have much for the first week market, but we really just hit a nice, finally got warm temperatures this past few weeks. So warmer at night too, not so much of a fluctuation. Here's another succession of lettuce going in right there. So yeah, stay tuned. This is just the beginning. Thank you for following along Jay's Grass-Fed Garden, and it's gonna keep on keeping on, continuing to fill in really nice. If you got any questions, any suggestions, leave them down below. And the pasture's growing in nice over there. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. And then we got the mountains and a beautiful blue sky. Not a spray, not a cloud. One love, wholeness. Stay tuned. Peace.